So today I'm doing my first oil change ever. That's right, I've never changed oil on this car. In 4 years, I've never changed oil on this car. Actually, that's not true. I've never changed it, but the oil has been changed regularly in this car every time, on time, for previous 4 years. So because this is a PASM car and it sits 10 millimeters lower, basically what I did to raise it off the ground, I put it on I had these wood slats that I used, these 2x4s that I had, and so I drove the car on there. It actually drove on there just fine, and that gave me enough space under the car to fit the oil pan. Step one, break loose your oil drain plug, which is right there, as you guys can see it. Probably can't. It's still dripping. It is to the left. The oil drain plug is to the left of the oil pressure sensor. So drain that, and it's an 8 millimeter screw. My tape was a trick that didn't work. It's an 8 millimeter Allen. What I did was I jacked the car, lifted the car just so that this would have enough space to fit in there because it doesn't fit otherwise. So I just jacked it, broke it loose, pulled the drain plug off, lowered the car and let it drain. And it's continuing to drain. I was gonna break the torque loose and then wound the tape up, and I was just gonna yank the tape and spin it off, but it didn't work. So I had to break the torque loose and then just, crack it loose a couple times until I could just get that Allen key out of the way, and then you just spin it by hand. I got minimal oil on my fingers, no big deal. Just let the drain plug fall into the oil, into the catch, and it's fine. And so now that's draining. So another tip I got was to pull the cap off. I'm not filling it yet. I pulled the cap off because it relieves pressure. And actually when I pull this off, you can hear it kind of go, just like relieve a little pressure. That will help the oil drain because it takes the crankcase pressure out of here. When you go to fill it, I'm not there yet, but this is nice. It has a nice little telescoping tube, but we're not there yet. So I'm gonna just put that back on there so I don't lose it. I just leave it on loose, see, so that I don't lose it. This is a 36 millimeter. So get a 36 millimeter and a regular wrench, and you can just break it loose. And that's how you get the oil filter cover off. The oil filter is gonna be inside there. There's your oil filter. There's your O-ring you gotta replace. There's actually oil in it. All right, let me put that back on there for a second. We'll do that in a second. This shit's hot. I wasn't ready for oil to come out of the top. I was surprised there was oil on the top. That's good. That means the oil system's got good pressure. So I ordered everything from FCP or like I do, and this is what you get when you order their kit. And I mean, the kit's $100. That is way cheaper than you're gonna pay for any oil change at any Porsche or independent dealer. I was actually kind of shocked when the kit was only $100 for this amount of oil, because I'm used to paying a lot more to get the oil change done. I don't like messing with oil and recycling and all that, but if it's this easy, I think I'm just gonna keep doing it myself. So in the kit, you get your big 5 liter, and you get 3 more. So just 8 liters because you need 7.5 for the 911. You get, included in the kit, you get a new crush washer and plug. You get the Molly oil filter. I opened this already. So you get an oil filter with a new O-ring. See the O-rings down in there. There's your O-ring. So replace your O-ring, put your brand new O-ring on there. Here's your new oil filter. Part number somewhere. It's there, but it's hard to read because it's in yellow. There's your part number. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Why I haven't done it before? I don't know. Lazy, I guess. This is a 36 millimeter 6-point, but I had a 12-point. Works just the same. You get the same amount of bite on it on a 12-point as you do on a 6-point. The oil filter actually had oil in it, which I didn't expect. I was careful not to drip it into the airbox. If you're worried about that, either cover the airbox or just remove it. And then the filter itself, you just pull off. I meant the oil cap earlier. The filter itself, you just pop it off, and I already had a bag ready to drop it in so it wouldn't drip oil anywhere. And the new one goes right on. And you'll look at it and it doesn't look like it fits right. It looks like the hole's too small, but it's just the felt material. You wiggle it a little bit and press it in, and it goes on perfectly, just like that. And I double checked the part number. That is the right part number. So then you got to just change the O-ring on your cap, and that's super easy. The manual does say don't use anything sharp on here. Do not scratch the plastic or the O-ring. I used a round hook pick. I'm not stabbing the O-ring, nor am I gouging the plastic. I'm just using it to get under the O-ring. Now I just drove the car, so the oil's warm, the O-ring's stretchy, so it's easy to get that on underneath the O-ring and pop it off. Then the new one, I just put it on by hand. I don't use any tools. I don't overstretch it or anything. I just put it on by hand. I roll it down and I make sure it's all the way in, seated in its position, that it's not too high or too low. It's right in the groove it's supposed to be in. And with that done, put that back up here. I can put the camera back up here, and then I can grab the cap. There's the cap with the O-ring. Make sure the O-ring's all the way on. Double check that damn thing. And then I put it on. And because these caps are plastic and they're kind of a pain in the butt to line them up, pull back on the airbox if you didn't remove it. See, it just drops in. And then I didn't feel like it was seating all the way, so what I do is I start backing it off. It's not because I don't know my left from my right. It's because I wanted to turn it left until you feel it drop into the grooves. And then I can turn it right and you can hear it. That sound is just the cap grabbing the oil filter and it's spinning together. And then just tighten it back up. Super easy. And not a lot of force. Just tighten this until it comes to a full stop. And then after it comes to a full stop, pull out your torque wrench and then torque it. And if you know what the torque is, it's 50, is it 25? It's 25 Newton meters is the torque. Another thing I got, and I bought this for when I had to do this with the Audi. I bought an oil filler that has a screen in it, just in case, even though it's brand new oil, make sure there's nothing in it. Thank God. Actually, I'm happy I did that, because when I did this with the Audi, a piece of plastic from the bottle fell and landed there. Had I not had that screen, that would have went into the engine. So from now on, when I'm filling oil, I will always use an oil funnel that has a screen on it. It smells like oil in this garage. So it's been a few hours and of draining. So let's see where we're at. Should be able to put the plug on, or the new plug in, and put some oil back in the car. I talked to my technical experts, aka Michael from Motors and Meats, and Mr. Auto Amateur himself, James McGraw, and they told me stop being a Nancy and put the damn plug back in and put some oil in it. So that's what I'm going to do. In their experience, they never wait more than 20 minutes after they drain the oil. And there's nowhere that I found that says you have to wait hours after you drain the oil. The only place I found that said you should wait for hours or overnight for it to drain was two videos. One of them was FCP Euro. They did drain their, I think it was a 996 though. They said they let it drain overnight. And another one was another Porsche enthusiast from the East Coast. I can't remember his name right now, but he let the car drain for, he said he let it drain for a few days. But talking to my buddies that I talk to regularly, they said they never do that. They wait 20-30 minutes, put the plug back in. They've never had an issue. Oil level's good. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna put the plug back on, even though I've waited, let's see what time is it now. I've waited probably about 6 hours, maybe like 8 hours. Well, I'll just put the drain plug back on and we'll add some oil and see where our level's at. All right, here's my new drain plug with new washer, crush washer on it. We'll put that on here, like so. Bam. And I've pushed that out of the way already, so I can just reach up here and get that started, like so. All right, and then I'll get my torque wrench. And the torque on this is 37 foot-pounds. I'll show you on the screen from the manual, the service manual, where it says what the torque is. So. Yeah, see, that's why I double checked it, because after I clicked the first time, I checked it again and it moved. So it's not moving now, so it should be sealed. Okay. It's time to add the liquid gold. We'll start with the big jug first. This is going to be the most awkward. I'm using liquid moly, 5W40. Turn it this way. This stuff. I like that it has an extendable spout here. And I just spilled it all over the bumper. It's alright, car needs to be washed anyways. Shoot. I think I forgot to open the little valve in the bottom. Close, that's open. There we go. Alright. It's going down? Yeah, it's going down now. So I took the car around the block because it says, of course, it says engine not warmed up, and the only way you can check the oil level on these cars is in the dash. So let's see how much we got. It's good. I'm gonna add some more oil because it says dang it. Go back to that. So between the two arrows is 1 liter. So if it's up 1 and it can go up 2 more blocks, so that's a little less than a liter. Well, I have exactly half a liter left, so I'm gonna re-add that to the car right now. So if you look at the manual, the capacity for a completely bone dry engine, brand new engine, is 10 liters. And it says capacity for this is 7.5. I added 7.5, and you see where it is. It's actually, the level's good. I don't need to add anything. I can drive it the way it is, but I'm going to add just a little bit. Talking to my friend Michael, he's done this oil change himself 4 times now on the Carrera S, exact same engine. On his car, he says it takes almost every single time, it takes right at 8 liters every time he does it with the oil filter. So I'm thinking that's probably what it is. And because I like to live dangerously, I'm gonna add this without a funnel. I'm just gonna straight put this in from the bottle straight to the Porsche extension tube that's on there. Let's see if I can do this without spilling a drop. Make sure it's all the way out. It is. All right, let's go. Who's your daddy? Oh, I spilled it. I spilled it. No judgment. If I get it fast, I can save it. Get a bit in the tube. Got it. Ah. Whew. Save the airbox. Save the airbox. And when you put this back on, it clicks. There's a lock. There's like it'll stop, and then you turn a little more and make sure you lock this when you put it back on. You don't want oil spitting out of there. All right, let's check the oil level again, shall we? Alrighty. Let's go to oil. All right, we're gonna wait 57 seconds. I'll speed this part up. There we go. We are good to go. I could probably add another drop, but I'm not going to. We're gonna leave it right there. I think that is perfect. So that was both the easiest and the longest oil change I've ever done. It was actually super easy. I didn't even really have to lift the car, other than I drove it on the ramp. And the only reason I have to drive it on the ramps was because this is a PASM car, so it does sit 10 10 millimeters lower. A base model or non-PASM car does not have that 10 millimeter gap, and you can probably get away with doing this without lifting the car up. You could probably just do this straight on the ground. The other reason I did this at home instead of at the DIY garage was because I didn't want to have the car up on a lift, hogging the lift for a long time. But now I know that even after I left it for hours, it really didn't drain much more oil. That must be something from older previous generation 911s. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Let us know, share that information with us. But from talking to the other guys who have 997s and 991s, they say they don't really get that much more oil out, period, by letting it sit more than 20-30 minutes. And from my experience today, it didn't get out any more oil than just a little bit after I let it sit all day. I think it was for enthusiasts. The video I saw online on YouTube, when the plug got put back in, when they pulled it back out, probably a whole another liter came out. So that's not what my experience was. I barely got anything out. So I think leaving it 30 minutes is probably more than enough. That being said, this video's done. What's next?